My favorite.
It's Judd's Hockey Show.
Indeed it is. Judd's Hockey Show. Judd and AJ with you. Wild coming off a 3-2 loss to the Detroit Red Wings last night, which we will get into. Plenty to talk about in the first game that Eriksson Ek has missed. Kirill Kaprizov, of course, remains out. Before we get to all that stuff, let's talk about the good stuff, though. Let's talk about popcorn. The best locally fresh popcorn and fudge on the planet. Right now, limited edition Kirill Kaprizov and Marc-Andre Fleury 1-gallon popcorn tins available. Enjoy your favorite popcorn products. They're delicious, by the way. In these tins for only $26. Get refills on standard flavors for only $8. You can also win Wild Sweet tickets to the March 13th game against the Rangers. Come into their store in Minnetonka, scan the QR code, or if you're outside the metro, just go to popcorn.com/pages/mn-wild. That's popcorn, Popped, corn.com/pages/mn-wild. Kaprizov and Fleury tins are only around while supplies last. Again, popcorn.com, or give them a call if you want, 952-452-8808. All right, AJ, last night, the Wild gets off to, after actually rallying from 2 down to beat the Red Wings on Saturday in a nice win. At home, they get off to a 2-0 lead. They get goals from Rossi in the first, and actually Jacob Lauko is back. He scores his third also in the first. After that, though, it's all Wings. They score the final 3 goals. Let me start here with you, okay?
All right.
You got 2 goals at home, and then you couldn't score again. And the reality is this. The play at home continues to be just baffling. I mean, I'm completely baffled by what takes place. Like, why can you come back from 2 down in a hostile environment? And I will say this, my God, the Red Wings have sucked now for, like, they've been bad for 10 years? 10 years? 12 years? The amount of Red Wings fans in the X last night, and I'm sure that you could hear them through the TV.
Mm-hmm.
When Detroit scored, it sounded like a home game. But that, and the other thing too is, and this gets to the heart of the problem, without Ek, who, as Jake Middleton called him last night, it's sort of the heartbeat of the team. Without Ek and without Kaprizov, it's not like you've got a ton of firepower already, but now you're down absolutely 2 instrumental guys. And I can't decide if last night just continues this home weird malaise, or if it was just sort of the first indication of how things are going to go when Kaprizov is out and has been out for an extended time age, and Eriksson Ek now, it sounds like, is going to be out for an extended time. I mean, week to week, as I think that you said on JHS yesterday, week to week does not mean week to week. It probably means a month or more than a month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll say this. They're very fortunate because all of these times where we have these questions about how they're going to look usually comes right after some sort of injury or suspension or something along those lines. So we can never really nail down a decisive answer. What I will say, though, is that if this is going to be the trend, if this is how you're going to look, boy, is that frustrating. You go up 2 goals at home, and then you take a 2-0 lead in the locker room. The Red Wings then record not 10, not 20, 7 more shots in the game across the second and third period combined to beat you. They scored 3 goals on 7 shots. They had 3 shots alone in the third period. That, in a sense, was enough to beat you. There has to be some pushback. There has to be a little bit of a backbone. And the thing is, they played, I thought, a fantastic first period. They were buzzing. Everybody was pushing hard up the ice. They were playing north to south. It was get the puck deep. We're going to get in there, nitty gritty. We got the puck to the front. The Lauko goal, that was hard work. The Marco Rossi goal, he's taking a beating, but he's like horizontal flying, bats it in. Hard work. That's 2 hardworking goals. So you earn that lead. The problem is you didn't earn anything else the rest of the night. You didn't earn an inch. You barely even earned your own shifts because it was really pathetic after that first 20 minutes. Tarasenko, he's a fantastic player. He was kind of left all alone there. Yeah. Simon Edvinsson, I think, is a very nice player. I would say that at least one of those has to be stopped, especially the second goal that he had. That was just kind of a slap.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's
my list.
And I don't know if it's a Gustafsson issue.
Said that. No, he said I've got to stop the second one. The third one was screened. It was a nice D to D pass and went off the post. That was a tough save. The second one has to be stopped. But here's the problem. So, yes, it's got to be stopped. But the reality is you also at home couldn't score more than 2 goals.
Yes.
So like yes, Gustafsson, if you are going to win, has to stop that puck. But you also couldn't score more than 2 goals. And here's the thing. I'm not totally shocked by that. Like, but it's like, when you're without Kaprizov, when you're without Ek, Age, let's go through. Okay, so the depth chart last night, the line chart, okay?
Okay.
First center, Marco Rossi. No problem with that. It's been the case a lot. That's great. But now let's see who's had to bump up. Your second line center, Frederick Gaudreau, with, again, Marcus Johansson. I'm so sick of this.
How'd you like his night last night?
Come on. What? Let's move Ogren to that line. Third line, Hustadinov, who I like, but he's been on the fourth line for a reason. And then your emergency fourth line center was Devon Shore, who's been playing wing, who can play center, but is just here by the hair of his chinny chin out of necessity. So, yes, Gustafsson has to stop that shot. Yes, it's frustrating he did not. But bigger picture, I guess my question is this. You scored 2 goals. Where's the offense going to come from now? And I'm not saying Ek was a whirling dervish offensively, but he does drive play. And when Freddie Gaudreau has to play second line center, you got trouble. I mean, I think he's had a really nice bounce back year. I think he can kill penalties most of the time. I like him, but second line center, hard pass for me on that one.
Yeah, I agree. And granted, they're probably just biding some time until early March when they receive Ryan Hartman back from suspension. And then he's probably a guy that they could potentially throw on that middle, and then everybody gets bumped down. But I'm nervous about the rest of this team. What do they have, like 25 some odd games left here, Judd? And a lot of them, especially in the month of March, are at home. They've shown they've proven to the fans and us that they can't sustain like contained offense and success in their home building. Now you're down your best player. Now you're down probably your best center, just because of his two-way ability, what he does on the penalty kill, what he does both 2 ways, offensively, defensively. I don't know where it's going to come from. Like, you're relying on a 1A, like, top line to generate this offense. But the problem is Boldy, Rossi, Zuccarello, they either are scalding hot because more than likely it's a team that I think probably they've figured out or has some deficiencies, or it's ice cold and then you're relying on probably like a Marcus Foligno to drive hard to the net. And I'm not saying Marcus Foligno can't score goals. He salvaged a point, and then that eventually got them a second point on Saturday against the Red Wings. But that's not a goal scorer by any means. Matt Boldy, Marco Rossi, Matt Zuccarello, you have to rise to an occasion. And last night, I mean, sure, Marco Rossi had a goal. Down the nitty gritty of it, Marco Rossi and as much as I hate saying this because I love the kid, pulls one shy. Like, granted, Marcus Foligno is in the goal, so I think even if he scores, I would love to see the discussion of, is that goalie interference? He was kind of pushed there to begin with, but he made zero effort to get out of the way of Cam Talbot, who was on the other side of him. But he didn't even give the chance for that conversation because he pulls it so shy, it hits the side of the net instead of the gaping orifice in the middle of the goal that was wide open.
Yes. To
tie a game late in the third period.
And he's got to drive that puck through Foligno.
Yeah.
Now he claimed he was asked post game, were you trying to be too fine there? And he's like, no, I just hit the side of the net. But I mean, when he sees his teammate, he's got to take aim at his teammate. Because if that puck drills Foligno in the goal, I think it would have been challenged, but it's still a goal then because it crosses it crosses the line. But yeah, no, and look, again, with what they weren't doing, you got to find a way to score goals. Like, that's the thing that's maddening. Those first 2 goals were like, you found a way. That's awesome. You're up 2-0. You're at home. You should be able to protect a lead. And after that, it was, I don't know what it was. It's you know what, too? It's way too much of the Marcus Johansson's trying to get cute, right? It's way too much. Like, here's the thing right now, and I've said this for a long time, but it's more true now than ever. And Eriksson Ek is, by the way, a worker. Like he's not super skilled, he's a worker. But the reality is, you don't have really anyone on this team, save for maybe Zuccarello at his best when passing well, who can be pretty. Like, everyone else has to go to the net. Everyone else has to quit trying to make plays and just go to the net and get shots and create. Like, Cam Talbot is going to give up goals if you create havoc in front of him. And in the last 2 periods last night, I didn't see nearly enough of that.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Matt Boldy could, like, we know he has the skill to do it, but we've talked numerous times about how we don't want/need him to play that game. Like, you should be doing almost the role that Judd Eriksson Ek has been doing, which is you're clearing out guys on your way to the front. You're holding ground out front as this kind of moving screen who has, as we saw with Team USA, has great hand-eye coordination to tip shots incoming on goal. Instead, it's the perimeter show, which I know Marcus Johansson is all too familiar with. God, Judd, just off tangent, some of the plays that he made last night, I'm sitting there looking at my TV like, what are we doing? Because we keep in mind, every hockey fan goes from a week ago cheering for, picking a country and then cheering for some of the best players in the world. And that was every shift. We've now been removed from that, and we're watching Marcus Johansson shoot like a wrist shot from 5 feet away for a pass to his teammate who, believe it or not, couldn't handle the pass. Like, there's stuff like that. That's just.
Oh, we saw a few of those last night, my man. We saw a few of those. Faber's walking down the slot at one point and passes the puck. It's like, dude, you got to put that puck on. Yeah, shoot the puck. And I don't care if he saves it. It's going to create a rebound, and damn well somebody should be there. But you know what? I saw about 3 of those last night. In fact, that's when the game went pear-shaped. There were about 3 chances where it's like, you got to shoot, and they're like, no, I'm going to create. I got another question for you. Hockey sort of X's and O's question. So, and I think this is a fundamental strategy thing. I don't think this is a player choice thing, okay? But with that first line, do you notice that when they gain the zone and they actually are trying to set up a play, do you notice that Rossi, and he can do it, he scored some goals here, so this is not a put down on Marco. He's the net front presence. And Boldy sort of works the boards, but working the boards in 2025 is a little bit more skill than grit lots of times. Why wouldn't you alter that to have Rossi be the attempted playmaker, because he's strong enough, and Boldy be the net front guy?
I would imagine that
Which used to be the case.
Yeah. I would bet, and I'll have to keep an eye on this more, because when do they play next? Thursday night?
Yeah, they've got a couple of road games now before they play Sunday against Boston at home.
Yeah, so Thursday I'll keep this in mind because I'll watch it closely. But I would imagine it comes down to just like the order of the breakout, where you give it to the wing and then it finds its way to the center, and it's all orchestrated. Right. That's how it's supposed to be. Correct. But then the puck carrier probably ends up being, let's just say for this scenario, it's Rossi. Rossi moves in and he leaves that drop pass. What should he do? It's better for him probably there because of where his positioning is, to be the guy that cuts to the net. So in order to reverse that and have Boldy now take that, they have to essentially be swapping their roles. Yeah. So instead of ABC, right, Boldy now needs to be A instead of B, because then ACB. Exactly. So, but that shouldn't be that hard for professionals. I can do that today in practice. Yeah. I can drive. I'm close right now. I can drive to Tria and I can make this change. But I mean, again, I don't need Boldy making plays. I need him to be a net front guy. Yep. I need you to shoot the puck. I need him to be taking the beating in front. Mm-hmm. I just don't understand. And look, in my day, old man screaming at clouds. In my day, the wingers went to the net. The center made plays. I understand that's changed now. Eriksson Ek, who's very good at being a net front guy. I'm not suggesting he shouldn't be, but and Rossi can do it. But my point is, Boldy, the problem is when you encourage Matt to make plays, he forgets what his game is. Mm-hmm.
And and Marco's a center. So it's my humble opinion that he should be more apt to be able to make plays. Like this is all, how do you get Boldy away from his game? How do I do the opposing team a favor? I get him to try and make plays. And I'm not suggesting that Zuccarello doesn't, he passes him in my opinion, too much at times, but he's very good at it. Yeah. And he's a little guy, small guy. So he can do that. But, I'm watching this last night and I'm again saying to myself, okay, is Boldy's skill, does Boldy's skill trump his ability to get in front of the net with his size? And furthermore, when you allow him to think he's skilled, which he is, I'm not saying he's not, but when you allow him to get the taste of, I'm a playmaker now, I'm going to make, I mean, we saw that last night. Guys are passing up shots. You can't pass up shots. It's Cam Talbot. Unless I'm missing something fundamentally that you're like, no, Judd, you're not seeing this. I don't think we're doing anyone any favors by taking Matt Boldy out of the role. And he is a good passer. Very good in the breakout. I really like him in the breakout and stuff. But when you're set up in the zone, is it really hard to go ACB when you want to go like that? That's the thing. You just need to, as they say in football with defenders, you just need to stunt. You need them cross. You just need him to cross.
Yeah. I would say what they need to tell him is just to simplify it. And by simplify it, you have 3 options. We prefer 1 and 2, and I'll get to 3. 1 is when you enter the puck or enter the zone with the puck, you're looking to do 1 or 2 things. And so it's like a 50-50. It's either you have a good shot, so do your little change the angle last second, use the defender as a screen and fire a puck on net, and then you're crashing. Or what we see more of the time, which is you cut into the zone, you have the trailing forwards with you, so you're going to leave a drop pass, and then you're going directly to the front of the net. 3 is maybe there's a line change. Maybe you don't have guys with you. Stay along the half wall. And we've seen Matt Boldy. He knows how to play this game. You kind of spin off, you buy some time, and then you kick it back up to the top. And then you go to the front of the net, or you change depending on where things are at. There should be no 4th option, which is dipsy doodle, dangle, datsuk around the defense. We're going to skate around the world. I'm going to go down low, and I'm going to go to the other corner. And now I'm up top on the far side blue line. Now I'm near side blue line. I'm going to go back to the far side, now down low. And, I'm going to just get a little cardio and a little exercise. We don't want that. We don't need that. Your game is not centered around that. Get to the front, be physical. Get to the front. Get to the front. That's all I want. Just get to the front. I don't care if it is preceded by a shot, a pass, you buying time. You need to eventually along this road, understand when you're driving, you're going to probably stop. You're going to stop at the bathroom. You're going to stop at a Holiday or whatever to get or a quick trip to get a coffee.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah. But eventually you're going home. Your home, Matt Boldy, when in the offensive zone, is the front of the net. You are on top of the crease with your rear end stuck in front of Cam Talbot or whoever the opposing goalie is, so they cannot see any incoming shots. And then you work. That's how you're going to generate offense. You are a big presence. You're clearly, and it'd be a different conversation if there was somebody of size on that line, but you have you have a foot on both of them. Matt Boldy, you are the size. Get to the front and be the size.
Amen. Amen. Okay. So this dovetails perfectly because if I'm not mistaken, a couple of years ago, Matt Boldy took part up in Brainerd in a professional golf event. He's so good on the golf course. AJ, tell us how we can all get so proficient on the links.
Yeah, and you know how good he was getting is because he went and got some perfect clubs that were fit perfectly for him. And I'm sure if he had the chance, he would have done it at Swing Lab Performance Center. I'm going to make sure that I also stop there because right now they're fitting all of these golfers eager. I'm looking out the window right now, and there's one little patch of snow, Judd. The past couple mornings you wake up, it's not white galore. You're seeing the murky browns, the dried out grass greens. It's gorgeous. This is about as good as it can get right now if you're a golfer in Minnesota, and it's only going to get better. So get the perfect clubs because right now you can get put with the newest stuff from Callaway, TaylorMade, Mizuno, Titleist, Cobra, Cleveland, Eriksson, and Lab putters. The professional fitters at Swing Lab will use data-driven feedback to put any golfer with the right clubs. And if you go in right now for a club fitting, you're going to be entered into a drawing for 2 lower bowl tickets. If you go in now before the 23rd, you're going to get it in the drawing for the game against the Penguins here on March 9th. Or if you go in after that, there's a second raffle that you'll be entered in for the game against the Dallas Stars on April 6th, but a club fitting and purchase is required to be entered into the raffle. Check in with Swing Lab over in Lakeville. Go online to swinglabperformancegolf.com or give them a call at 763-453-5892. That's 763-453-5892. Swing Lab Performance Golf.
All right, last thing for you. So as we discussed with Jesse yesterday on JHS, the trade deadline is a week from Friday. It is March 7th. I will say this. I looked last night on the board, a little bit more than a handful of scouts there at the game, and 2 of them were from Buffalo. Now, I don't know. Buffalo is hopelessly done, and Detroit is very much trying to gain if nothing else, a wild card spot in that difficult but very congested Eastern Conference. But I thought it was interesting. I don't know if there's anyone on Buffalo the Wild would necessarily want, because it's some old friends as well.
Yeah.
Jason Zucker's had a very nice year, and I could see him being traded. Certainly not back to Bill Guerin's team. But Buffalo had 2 reps there, so they were definitely looking at something. Now, back in the Chuck Fletcher days, he used to trade with the Sabres like it was going out of style.
That's
not as much the case now. Exactly right. But I did find it intriguing. And I do think that the next week is going to get very, very interesting. And the really, really, I guess, complex decision that the Wild has to make is because Eriksson Ek and Kaprizov are out for a long time. Mm-hmm. So the real complex decision is, do you try to make up for some of that production, or do you just punt? And as we talked about with Jesse on the Tuesday show, I think there's a fighting chance Bill Guerin's at least going to try to make a deal, even if we don't necessarily agree it's the best thing.
Yeah, I'm brave. And I was thinking about this a lot after the game last night, which is, I know it's coming. I just need it to not be as massive as I think some people are anticipating or expecting. Like,
sure,
I'm not necessarily starving Bill Guerin. I don't need the full poo-poo platter of every single item on the menu. Let's get a nice sampler. Let's get some mozzarella sticks. Let's get some of Mackey's ahi crisp tunas, for the table to share. We don't need to get a full entree here. Get me a depth guy, somebody who maybe, even if you want to get flashy, like instead of a bottom, get a middle 6 with a little scoring touch, but nothing that's going to A, carry over for multiple years. B, going to cost you any sort of top end tier prospect. I understand that and I'm trying to pull up the Wild's like outside of the main prospects who you could probably ship, but like, you're not really going to want to give a pick, because at that point, any pick that you're giving in the first 4 rounds, hey, now you're down to 1 pick in the first 4 rounds. You have your own in round 2. You have the Leafs in round 4. The Blue Jackets in round 5, and your own in round 6. That is it for the Wild this coming draft. It's going to be a very light weekend for Judd Brackett and the Wild. So when you look at some of the non-roster guys, defense wise, which I think is probably where my mind shifts to, who is there that maybe has, I'm not going to say overstayed a welcome, but has had some time. You're thinking, okay, we probably can move on as an organization. My one that comes to mind, and granted, I don't know if this is the right move given how, because I know you want to protect Iowa in a sense, but Carson Lambos, to me, he was a 1st round pick. I know he's had some injury history, but this is a guy where I think, given other moves they made, other draft picks they've selected, to me, it's like, I don't see a spot for him in the top 6 of this major club in the future. Get maybe a fresh start. He's 22, but if there's a prospect to move, I don't think that carries any massive value. So I don't really know what Bill Guerin's going to try to get, but that is a name that I can expect. Maybe him or a Ryan O'Rourke. I know O'Rourke is kind of a leader and a guy that has been vocalized as like he's a vocal leader, so there is some value to that. But in terms of skill, same thing. I think he's had his time. We haven't seen a lot of straight up development in the minors or while he was still in juniors, enough to where it's like, well, he's going to be competing for one of those NHL spots with the Wild and St. Paul. There's definitely some guys that I think you could move, but I just need it to not be anything that's going to feel like a punch to the gut in terms of 25 and beyond.
Absolutely. All right, sir. We're done back on Friday. So the Wild is off today. They play Thursday, they play Friday, and then again come home to play their first game of 11 in March at home. They better fix their problems there. Judd's Hockey Show. He's AJ. I'm Judd. We'll see you later.